Alright traders, just wanted to go over a quick little recap of today's price action, Monday, February 6th. Certainly a boring day in the market. We'll zoom into the daily candle, but I don't know if you can see it here, just a little doji. Now we finally are starting to see a little bit of a weakness, a little bit of selling pressure here in this overbought reading that we have in the Momo indicator. So, we were expecting to see that. I still do think that we need to sell down some more to cool off and reset. We've had quite a run for the beginning of the year. We broke out of this channel that we were in, and now we're back in it. We closed below the 410, that double top zone that we were talking about yesterday, that I wanted to see if it could hold. We came up, we broke it, we came up above it, below it, and we did close barely below it. 409.83 was the last print, but yeah, we still are in all this liquidity here, so this is going to be tough to get through a lot of sell orders, and it would be very likely, I think, to still see some selling pressure and come down, and that's fine. That doesn't mean the bull run is over. As long as we're holding, again, this big 400 is going to be important, and even if we came into that 395 area, I would still consider dip buys all up in that range as well. But let's get into the fibs real quick and get off this, and we'll take a look. Now, if in fact we do continue to sell off, I just want to say this obviously is going to be considered a fake break, so we want to watch out for that, and to see if we can push back up into this zone. Then I'll just mark it off here. Then we can consider this range still valid, but this might just have been a fake break out of that channel. And we can, we kind of topped off here on the hourly on the VP, and of course we went over Friday's price action with the lower high and getting stuck up in this these liquidity here. Yeah, so let's just go into okay. So yeah, you can see the candle today that was printed. Very ugly. We are still, we don't think we touched it today, but we were talking about coming down and visiting the 9 around 407.60 something. Okay, but we did not actually get there today. The low of the day was 408.10. So we didn't completely get there. We did open up with a gap down though. And I believe in the morning at one point we did try to fill it, was unable to do so. And so, I still think that we need to sell a little bit more. I mean, there would really be nothing wrong with still coming down to this 23.6 retracement, still that nice confluence with the 20-day moving average here. So that's around 401.95 or so. 402 could be a good pickup for a long, if we were going to consider that as we still sell off. Let's come in and look at the price action today, even though there's not too much to talk about. All right, well, on yesterday's video we were talking about this imbalance area here from this candle. I still think, and it seems to be shrinking a little bit, but I still do think that we are going to need to sell and work this out. Again, the bottom target area would probably be around 406.50, but today volume point of control is shifted and sitting right here around 410 on the dot, 410.05, excuse me. But look at this price action, and this was very typical of consolidation, type of price action. We've all traded through it before. We know what to expect. But clearly fake break to the bottom, fake break to the upside, a higher low here, but again, a nice little wick selling off, trying to grab liquidity and stop people out. This definitely was a grab. Up here again, fake break, but we had still these sellers sitting up in this area, and they just pushed price back down into, again, this imbalanced area, but buyers came in and bought it back up. So but it looks like the volume profile here here is starting to thicken out a little bit. The gap was a little bit bigger before, so I'm thinking some of these orders probably have worked itself out, and so I am going to, it's going to make me move the whole thing. I'm going to adjust this, make it a little bit smaller. I have to zoom out to get the other side. But I still want to look for this area to potentially be to have price driven into this, whether it's tomorrow or later in the week. I'm not sure, but this is definitely a zone I want to be mindful of. And as we were talking about yesterday, if we do actually come down into this 406.55 area, could be setting up for a nice long. If you're getting out of a short, then I would consider possibly going long here on these breakouts or retest here. So that could be a nice opportunity as well. We are now nicely back in value again. I think we were as well on Friday after that little sell-off. So that is good. Nice there. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart before we close out. 4-hour chart still a bit out of the range here. I mean, we got the VAH up at 405.67, point of control down by 398.10. So that would tell me that I still think that reinforce that we're going to try to first, this would be the first area to potentially look at, but we're going to want to come back into this zone. We're going to have to see a little bit more about how the profile shapes up, maybe after tomorrow. Now again, tomorrow we do have Powell speaking. I think it's just a Q&A. I don't think it's it's not anything official. It could potentially move the market. It might not. Last time I believe he spoke at a Q&A, I think it was in Switzerland or somewhere in that area. It ended up being a nothing burger. And I really think that today's price action more had to do with just the fact that we've had these huge runs, and now market is shifting more into that consolidation type mode. We could, now that I'm looking at this though, we could make a case like this though, something that we want to watch over if we do come down into this zone. We potentially do have a bit of a reversal pattern here. Setting up for a falling wedge, and that could give us a push back up, and maybe to retest these breakdown candles over here, very possible around 414, but it's all going to depend on whether or not we can get out of this downtrend. Other than that, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Last thing I'll say is, Momo here has definitely cooled off. We were watching these overbought levels. This has cooled off nicely for a push. Daily we've already went over. Still needs a bit of time. It's still pretty overbought. And let's look at the hourly. Hourly showing a little bit of some divergence here coming up out of that oversold area coming up, and price action is obviously down. So a bit of divergence here on the hourly chart, something to note. But we'll have to see. We'll have to look at what tomorrow brings. Again, I'm not sure. It could be very possible that we stay in this consolidation zone for another day. That wouldn't surprise me. but you know, we just adjust how we trade, lower our expectations, take profits quicker, smaller size, trade less, and that's all there is to it. So you know, I'm really looking for that confirmation break over 411, under these, you know, Friday's lows of 411, we'll call it 45-30 area. If we can really get over that with some volume, now of course that would be a break of the downtrend as well. That could propel us back higher. But if we truly break down with some volume here to try to work out this this imbalance, then you know, we could sell off down and drop a couple another dollars maybe. So from now here, say 410 down to 406, 406.50. So that's also another scenario, and we need to make sure that as traders we have plans for both scenarios, and that way we know our triggers. We know, you know, we're not just guessing at what we want to do. We know that if this breaks and confirms, either over or under, that we know our plan of action, whether to go long or short. And you know, if we stay in this range, like we said, you know, don't diddle in the middle. We'll just sit on our hands and maybe a little scalps, but really not too much. So all right guys, have a good one.